Okay, so the tangent identities work the same way. Break it apart using a sum, use the first identity. Break it apart using a difference, you're going to use this identity. The only difference is this is kind of a mess because you've got a compound fraction. So there's going to be a little bit more algebra work involved, but that's it. So let's go ahead and do an example. We're going to go back to degrees now. You're like, thank goodness. Okay, so find the exact value of tangent of 300 degrees minus 45 degrees. So look, I was nice to you. I went ahead and I broke it apart for you. So this is like a really low level thinking because all you have to do is identify, here's my alpha, here's my beta, plug them in. So tangent of 300 degrees minus 45 degrees equals, so we're going to use the sum or the difference. Hopefully you all are going difference. And if you want, pause this video and try to work ahead of me. See if you can do it. So my alpha is 300, so I'm going to write tangent of 300 minus tangent of 45 divided by 1 plus tangent of 300 times tangent of 45. Now the only thing about this problem is this dude right here is not a special angle. 300 is not a special angle. So I threw that in here on purpose. I want you to remember, how do we find tangent of 300? How do we find that exact value? Well, it was like skill 13, I believe, or something like that. It's called a reference angle. So we're going to go here. We're going to draw that angle in a coordinate grid, 300 degrees, so 90, 180, 270, 300 is somewhere in here. So we know this is 360. So if this is 300, the angle measure between here and here is going to be 60 degrees. So there we've got a special triangle. Across from 60 degrees is square root of 3. And next to 60 degrees is a 1. Hypotenuse is 2. And we can find tangent of 300 using that now. Along with all students take calculus. So whatever we get for tangent of 300, it's going to be negative. So tangent of 300, let's go ahead and find it. We're going to be opposite over adjacent, that's square root of 3, over 1, and it's going to be negative. So negative square root of 3. Minus tangent of 45 degrees. Hopefully you all remember that's 1. If you don't, that's okay. Draw your triangle. Then on bottom we have 1 plus tangent of 300, which is negative square root of 3, times tangent of 45, which is 1. So now we've got the negative square root of 3 minus 1 all over 1 minus the square root of 3. What a mess. We've got a radical on bottom. We're going to have to get rid of that radical. Okay, and to do that, we're going to have to multiply by a conjugate. Okay, you should slightly remember that word from when we just verified identities. To get radicals out of the denominator, we use the conjugate as well. We don't like radicals in the bottom. So we're going to need to multiply by the conjugate, 1 plus the square root of 3 on top and bottom. And that's going to get rid of our radical on bottom. We're going to have to FOIL out and do some different things here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to have negative square root of 3 minus 3 minus 1 minus the square root of 3 all over, and on bottom we're going to have 1 plus the square root of 3 minus the square root of 3 minus 3. So all I did there was FOIL. Pause the video if you need to, digest what I just said. And now we're just going to combine some things and simplify. So we've got these guys on bottom cancel, so it got rid of the radical, and we're going to have, we have 2 negative square roots of 3, so we're going to write negative 2 square roots of 3. Then we have minus 4 on top. Uh-oh. And then on bottom we have negative 2. Everything's divisible by 2, so our final answer is going to be negative square root of 3 minus 1 all over negative 1. Uh-oh. Everything's divisible by negative 1, so it equals positive square root of 3 plus 1. I know that was a little crazy, but that's how they work. Okay, so these tangent ones are going to be a doozy just because if you end up with a radical on bottom, you have to do this extra algebra. So in our next video, our last video, we're going to look at verifying one of these identities, and we'll be done for today.